Hello, what is going on? Welcome back to 21 Hunting and Fishing. And this is a follow-up episode. I've never done something like this before as far as following up on something that I've already posted about. And what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about the recreational take of barred sand bass and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife meeting results that occurred yesterday, February 13th, 2025. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and take a look at my video I did on the proposed regulation changes for the recreational take of barred sand bass. And essentially yesterday was just a discussion period, a hearing, if you will, for people to voice their concerns or support or opposition. Hopefully it's opposition of what they are trying to do in California. Now, the barred sand bass lives mostly along the Baja coast of Mexico. It only ventures to like the fringes of Southern California, but California finds it necessary for some reason to limit the take, even though it's a pretty small biomass compared to where these fish mostly live. And so what happened at this meeting yesterday was pretty unique. They had 50 people that wanted to comment on the proposed changes, and there was only one person that was opposed. I'm sorry, there was only one person that was for, increased regulations of the barred sand bass. Essentially, everyone there wanted to keep it at 5, or that was the most. And then some people, because of the way these things kind of go, said, okay, 4 would be acceptable. And what's also interesting about the barred sand bass is it's a combination limit with the calico bass and the spotted bay bass. So you can have 5 in any combination of those fish. But I reached out to someone after for clarification because they just kept saying 4, but they weren't really talking about how it's a combination limit. And essentially what I was told from a pretty good authority is that what that would mean is it'd be a total of 4 max barred sand bass and then like a calico bass. So then that would be your 5 total bass, or 4 barred sand bass and a spotted bay bass. So that would be your total of 5 bass. It was really interesting. I've never spoke at a meeting like this, and I signed in the day before because I wanted to see how these things go, and it's not nearly as intimidating, I think, as most people would make it out to be. You only have a minute to say whatever you want to say. I think the thing that I was worried mostly about was the Zoom muting and unmuting yourself. It seemed like a lot of people struggled with that. There were people on the phone who couldn't get through. What I did, and I can only tell you what I did, but what I did is I have a username and password for Zoom, and I signed in on my laptop. I just find it easier to use a laptop than trying to look at a small screen on a phone when it comes to having to click buttons really quickly. And then what I also did was I had my 60-second statement. I always record myself when I'm trying to prepare for some sort of public speaking or a job interview or something like that, because you'll pick up on a lot of things that you can improve by recording yourself. And so I recorded myself, and it actually came out pretty good. It's on my phone. And so what I did was when it came my turn to speak, I quickly unmuted myself on my laptop. A blue button came up, and you click unmute, and then I just hit play on my iPhone on the voice memo record, which is where I recorded the 60-second statement. And I don't even have my phone on me right now, or I'd play it, but I basically said that there are already regulations in place in order to protect the spawning. In 2013, they increased the size limit from 12 inches to 14 inches total length. And so, excuse me, that was the first thing. The second thing was, according to their own website, the CPUE, I forget what that acronym is, but basically the fish that are being caught are bigger in like 5 centimeter buckets. They put these fish. And so that regulation seems to be working as far as getting bigger fish. And essentially the intent is that it gives them as low as 2 or 3 and as high as 6 more seasons to spawn, depending on their growth rate and their maturity rate. But again, these fish don't primarily live in California, so I don't know why we continue to try to address these issues that aren't the real issue. They keep this is like addressing, a sore throat when you have cancer. Like, it's not the issue that you need to solve. The issue that needs to be solved in California, and I'm sure other places in the world, is just the water quality is really bad. When it rains in California, there's just tons of trash that gets washed into the waterways that ends up in the ocean, and no one wants to address the actual thing. They keep coming after recreational fishermen. It's not even a commercial fish. There's no commercial value of the barred sand bass in California. I don't know why, I was thinking about this. They're spending a lot of time kind of chasing the wrong problem for some of these things. There was a lot of different comments. There was over 50, like I said. Well, there was 50. And, people talked about how the barred sand bass is a very accessible fish for people that don't have money to go chasing, big game off the coast, like the tuna and, billfish and things like that. There's a lot of organizations that take special need kids fishing. And what do they go for? They go for things like the barred sand bass because you don't have to go far. The cost is low. A lot of these programs are, living on a shoestring budget. And when you take a child fishing, all you want them to do is hook up to a fish. You don't care if it's a mackerel. You don't care if it's a sand bass. You don't care if it's a shovel nose shark. You don't care if it's a calico. You just need them to feel the tug of the fish on the end of their line. And you need them to feel the success of going out, doing something you've never done before, and being successful at it. And they also, kids always want to keep whatever fish they catch. I think this is, I'll get more philosophical here, but I think humans have an instinct to catch and eat their food, and kids don't know how to suppress that. So when they catch something, something triggers in their brain that says, hey, I'm catching this. I should take this home and eat it. And, making the barred sand bass zero is missed opportunities for kids to be able to, accomplish that. And there's people that got emotional making their statements because they have seen over the years these powers to be continue to make these decisions with little science, and they are trying to kill the industry by death by 1,000 paper cuts. So it was pretty interesting. One other thing is definitely an eye-opening thing. They had a whole bunch of agenda items. This was just one agenda item over 2 days of meetings. I was surprised at how much they wanted to protect coyotes, even though coyotes destroy ranchers' livestock. I don't understand that. If someone was breaking into a store and stealing goods, you're able to defend against that, but they want to stop farmers from being able to defend against these pests destroying their livestock, which are financial assets for these farmers. But that's probably a different podcast. But Another thing to keep in mind is this really doesn't have much to do with the barred sand bass. It has a lot to do with control, and just showing up sends a message. And I don't think you need to be eloquent in making statements. You just need to, even if you take your 60 seconds to say, I don't agree with further closures, and that's all you want to say. You showed up, you took the time out of your day, and that sends a message, and you're a voter, and these people are, recognize that. So it makes them think twice. And, I say these people, but there's people on these boards that are also pro hunting and fishing. And so I think you also kind of need to be careful. You can't, go in there sort of attacking these decision makers. That will always automatically shut people off from what you were going to say, and they're immediately going to discount what you say. I think you go into these type of things with some research if you do want to add a little bit more meat to your statement, which is super easy to do. Just start the Google machine up, and I think citing your sources is helpful as well. And I also think it's important to just simply state at the beginning, in the middle, the end, multiple times. I something that is really simple, like I don't agree with further restrictions on barred sand bass, or something to that effect. Just something really simple, especially in the public setting like that. They hear people talking. Their eyes might start to glaze over. They're humans as well, but. That's all to say that this was just a hearing. The decision has not been made yet. There's going to be another meeting where they make a decision. So I look forward to attending that meeting as well. And in the meantime, just kind of keep my ear to the interwebs and see any more maybe data that I can look up, or just other points to make. But you only have 60 seconds when there's a high volume of people. In this case, there was 50 to talk, and it goes by pretty quick. So you really can't say a lot anyway. But again, just showing up, I think, is half the battle, more than half the battle. So we'll see what happens. And I think the message was sent that they can't just keep doing this stuff unchecked. What else? Yeah, it was a learning experience just to see how the sausage is made. There were people that traveled there because their jobs and livelihood depend on it. So one of the folks that traveled there, like, they made like this video and they got permission to show it, and it was good. It showed people catching barred sand bass, and I thought it was good. Again, you're sending the message that you're taking the time to say, I don't agree with a further restriction on this case barred sand bass. And then one of the commission members, after all the public comment was made, said something to the effect of like it was underwhelming or something. It's like, that isn't necessary. I didn't think it was necessary. But if you want to take a look at the meeting, excuse me, you can go to calspan.org, scroll down, and you'll see there's a February 12th and a February 13th meeting. The barred sand bass occurred on February 13th, right at 1 o'clock. So there was like a little bit over an hour lunch break. And then the agenda item number 22, the recreational take of barred sand bass, was going to be the first thing after the end of lunch, which was helpful because then you knew exactly when to be online in this case. And the other agenda items, you just kind of have to be there, right? Like if there's 1 through 7 agenda items and you're interested in 4, you kind of just need to show up when the meeting starts, because you don't know how fast they're going to get through these items. Also, there was a time where they wanted to kind of like rearrange the agenda items, which is kind of odd. I think once they publish something like this in this type of public forum, I think you really have to stick to that schedule, because people are expecting that to be correct. It's an official document, and when you start shuffling things around, people might miss their opportunity. And so this isn't like this is a pretty formal event. I think once you publish the agenda, you need to stick to it. But anyways, I think this was a big win for recreational fishermen. The message was sent that the recreational fishermen are not the problem, and the California sea lion is a pretty big problem. Urban runoff is a pretty big problem, and the water pollution. And so it's time for people to start addressing the right things. So I highly encourage you to take a look at the meeting. Again, if you wanted to look at the barred sand bass results, or at least the discussion, there was really no results to speak of because it was just a discussion. Go to the calspan.org, click on the February 13th meeting of the department, the Fish and Game, and it's about halfway through since we addressed it after lunch. So that is it. Just an update, and there will be more to follow. Remember, kill something, drag it back to the cave, and eat it. See ya.